morning, good morning. This morning we're going to talk about the next right answer, inspired by DeWitt Jones. So I'm going to ask my team, if they're watching, if you would drop a link to my DeWitt Jones podcast in the comments. So if people want to reference a deeper dive into what I'm going to talk about briefly this morning, they can study DeWitt Jones. And I know some of you have already seen it. Might be worth watching again. I'm going to tell you a little story that inspired me to talk about the next right answer. So I'm here, just in terms of reference, I found this little place by the parking lot. I'm at Dragonfly Golf Course in Madera, California. And I found this little spot a few weeks ago. A friend of mine took me golfing here. And craziest thing ever, I'd been like reading about Bryson DeChambeau, who's like top 10 golfer in the world, and he happens to be from Clovis, which is right by here. And I read about his golf coach, who worked out of some obscure golf course in the Clovis area. And then my buddy brings me here to golf, and what do I find but this fantastic golf school here at this little funky public course. Really actually pretty nice, but it's a public course. And Bryson DeChambeau's coach is here. He's got a whole golf school. So boom, guess who's my new golf coach? Bryson DeChambeau's coach, and has coached him since he was a kid, like he's a lifetime friend. I don't think he actually coaches him anymore, but did up until about 2 or 3 years ago. And so he's teaching me the same swing that he taught Bryson. So the subject today is the next right answer, and this is a distinction, a concept that I learned from my friend DeWitt Jones, who lives just one island over from me on the island of Molokai. And he's the National Geographic photographer for his whole life. He's retired now, who has a TED Talk and a keynote speech for companies called The Next Right Answer. And so I just was like thinking about the next right answer and that concept, and I was thinking about it as it applies to golf. So here I am, 65 years old, and I'm still searching for the next right answer in golf. And that's just the way I've always been wired. And perhaps if you're not wired there, it's because you haven't had enough experience with the idea of the next right answer. And I'd never heard of that concept before I met DeWitt, but I think I embody it in how I live my life. So, you know, for the last 20 years, I have been pursuing excellence in golf. Not perfection. I don't ever imagine myself being a PGA player or a senior tour player. Just excellence. And what is excellence in golf? Well, for me, it's how about usually like 90% of the time hitting the ball where I intend to hit it. Like generally where I intend to hit it. And have the golf club strike the ball in a way that is what we call in golf a pure shot, meaning you hit the ball relatively decent, right? So that's what all golfers look for, is they just want to get decent. They want to get good. They want to get excellent somewhere in there. And I've always pursued excellence. And to me, excellence, if you rate it in a handicap, is, you know, single digit handicap. And I'm a 10, I think maybe a 9.7. I used to be an 8.4, but my vision is to get to a 1 or a 2 or a 3, somewhere in there. Like, that's excellence for me, because with that golf handicap, I can play with anybody. I can play with the pros and not embarrass myself, right? I won't win any money unless they give me strokes, but I can play with the best golfers I know and on the best golf courses in the world and be excellent. And why do I want that? Because it's just fun. It's just a goal, right? Golf is not the most important thing in the world, for sure. But I just noticed that, you know, when it comes to the next right answer, I'm just always looking, how can I get better? Okay, that swing or that grip or that golf club, Kimmy will tell you, I got 5 sets of golf clubs and I got all these training aids, right? Because I'm always looking for the next right answer, the next breakthrough, the next tiny bit, right? You know, if you look at it, the way a golf handicap works, it's in numbers like 1 through 20 or so. And every time you click off just one number, like when I go from a 9 to an 8, you know, that's pretty significant. That gives you a great feeling to go from a 9 to an 8 and an 8 to a 7 and a 7 to a 6, right? And if I can if I can combine some lessons and some practice and some distinctions and some visualizations and some breathing exercise and some training tools to just drop my handicap by 1 stroke, I'm making progress, right? And as I've said before, folks, success for me, and I think most of you, is not defined by a destination, it's the journey. And as long as we're making progress on the journey, you and I tend to be fulfilled. We tend to be happy. So the question for you is, what's important to you? What are you pursuing? And are you constantly looking for the next right answer? Are you looking to sharpen your axe? Are you looking to get better by learning a different distinction, or developing a new habit, or developing a new skill set? Are you learning something and then practicing it and then sharpening your axe and debriefing, like in golf? You know, you got all these swing machines, these things with all these video cameras, and every time you swing and hit a ball, you know, 10 cameras videotape everything about your swing and how you hit the ball. And so every time you hit a ball, you can watch how you actually swung the club, how you hit the ball, the angle of attack, the trajectory, the speed, the spin on the ball, all of it, right? So those of you that are in business development, what if we had that kind of virtual reality camera that followed us around, and every time we had a conversation with somebody, it analyzed the conversation. It analyzed our physiology, our body language, our breathing, our voice tone, the questions we asked, whether or not we were interrupting, whether or not we were listening. And when we actually went to invited somebody to look at our products or our opportunity or whatever we're selling, you know, it analyzed, you know, how long the question was, and did we give them a chance to answer the question. And every time we invited somebody or prospected somebody or connected with somebody, we could watch a video that analyzed the whole process. It's coming, folks. Virtual reality training is coming to sales, where you actually learn with a headset on. You learn how to have conversations with people. You learn how to listen. You learn how to ask questions, all in virtual reality, all in a game format. And so my question of the day for you is, just what are you up to? What are you pursuing for excellence? Not perfection, just excellence. And what's the next right answer for you? Where are you investing? Where's your coach? What are you studying? What are you practicing? What's the habit? How are you debriefing? How are you sharpening your axe? How are you getting better? How are you going from a 9 to an 8 to a 7 to a 6? Because in golf, folks, you know, it's just fun and a feeling of accomplishment and maybe a few $100s on the golf course. But in business, every time you lower your handicap, your income goes up, maybe $25,000, $50,000 a year.